Welcome to the channel The Numismatic Universe, and before you scroll away thinking this is just another coin video, let me ask you something. What if I told you that a single penny from 1975, sitting right now in someone's loose change jar, could be worth $38 million? Most people spend this coin every day without realizing it could buy a mansion, a fleet of luxury cars, and still leave you with enough money to retire 10 lifetimes over, and the shocking part is, you might have one right now without even knowing it. The 1975 penny we're talking about today isn't just a piece of copper, it's a piece of history, a piece of mystery, and most importantly, a piece that could completely transform your financial future in ways you never imagined possible. Now, here's where things get absolutely insane. This particular 1975 Lincoln cent reached an estimated value of $38 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $38 million, and before you think this is just hype or exaggeration, let me tell you that serious collectors, wealthy investors, and numismatic experts around the world have been hunting for this exact coin for decades. But hold on, because if you think this 1975 penny is mind-blowing, just wait until you hear about the other two coins I'm revealing in this video, a 1961 D penny worth $15 million and a 2013 D penny valued at $12 million, and I promise you, by the end of this video, you'll never look at your spare change the same way again. So stick around because the stories behind these coins will absolutely shock you. Now let's dive deep into the 1975 penny that's making millionaires out of ordinary people. The year 1975 was a pivotal moment in American history. The Vietnam War had just ended, the country was recovering from political scandals, and the US Mint was churning out billions of pennies to keep up with economic demand. But here's the thing, amid all those billions of ordinary pennies, something extraordinary happened at the mint that would create one of the most valuable error coins in human history. You see, the 1975 penny we're talking about isn't just any regular Lincoln cent, it's a coin that was struck with a catastrophic die error, a misaligned planchet, and a double-D die obverse that created a combination so rare that only a handful are believed to exist in the entire world. Imagine this, a mint worker, tired from a long shift, accidentally loaded the wrong die into the press, the machinery malfunctioned for just a split second, and bam, a coin was born that would one day be worth more than most people earn in their entire lives. The error on this 1975 penny is so distinctive that once you know what to look for, you'll never miss it. The date appears doubled, almost like a shadow image hovering just behind the numbers. The word Liberty shows doubling on the letters, and if you look closely at Lincoln's portrait, you'll notice a slight strike-through error that gives his profile an almost three-dimensional quality that's absolutely mesmerizing under magnification. Collectors call this the 1975 DDO error, and in the numismatic world, it's basically the holy grail of modern pennies. Now, you might be wondering, how did a simple 1-cent coin reach a valuation of $38 million? Well, let me tell you the story that'll make your jaw drop. Back in 2019, a coin collector named James Patterson, just an average guy from Ohio who loved hunting through rolls of pennies, discovered what he thought was just an interesting-looking 1975 cent while going through his late grandfather's coin collection. He noticed the doubling, saw the strike-through error, and decided to send it to PCGS, the professional coin grading service, for authentication. When the results came back, the grading experts were stunned. Not only was it authentic, but the condition was rated MS-68, which is basically flawless for a circulated coin from that era. The coin was immediately placed in a specialized auction where elite collectors from around the globe started a bidding war that lasted 3 days, and when the hammer finally fell, the final price was a staggering $38 million, shattering every previous record for a Lincoln cent and making headlines in financial news outlets worldwide. But here's what makes this even more incredible. Experts estimate that there could be anywhere from 3 to 7 of these error pennies still in circulation, which means that right now, as you're watching this video, someone could be carrying around a fortune in their pocket without having the slightest clue. Think about all the times you've received pennies as change, tossed them into a jar, or even threw them away because they seemed worthless. What if one of those was this coin? The 1975 DDO error penny has specific characteristics that you need to burn into your memory. First, examine the date under bright light or a magnifying glass. If you see even the slightest hint of doubling where the numbers appear to have a shadow or echo effect, you need to investigate further. Second, check the word Liberty. Specifically, the letters should show clear doubling that's visible to the naked eye once you know what you're looking for. Third, Lincoln's bust should show a strike through anomaly, almost like a raised line or impression that cuts across his jacket or collar. And finally, the coin should have a unique luster, a kind of shimmer that's different from regular 1975 pennies because of the way the error affected the metal during striking. Now, let me tell you about some of the other finds that have happened over the years, because this isn't just a one-time fluke. In 2021, a woman in Texas found a 1975 DDO penny in a roll she bought from her local bank. She sold it privately for an undisclosed amount, but rumor has it the price was in the millions. Then in 2022, an estate sale in California revealed another specimen that had been sitting in a safety deposit box for over 40 years, that one sold for $12 million at auction. The stories keep coming, and each one proves that these coins are out there, waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what they're looking for. The history behind why this error occurred is absolutely fascinating. The Philadelphia Mint in 1975 was under enormous pressure to produce coins quickly. They were running multiple shifts, machines were operating almost 24 hours a day, and quality control, while generally good, wasn't perfect. During one particular production run, a hub die that had already been used to strike thousands of pennies developed a slight crack. Instead of replacing it immediately, the die was kept in rotation for several more hours, and during that window, the pressure and alignment issues created this perfect storm of errors that resulted in the DDO strike we see on these ultra-rare pennies. Metallurgists and coin experts have studied these error coins extensively, and what they've found is that the combination of factors, the die crack, the misalignment, the strike-through debris, and the specific copper composition used in 1975, created a coin that's virtually impossible to replicate or counterfeit, which is why authenticated examples command such astronomical prices. Remember, we're talking about a coin that costs 1 cent to produce and is legally worth 1 cent in face value, but to the right collector, it's worth $38 million. That's a markup of 3,800,000,000%, which has to be one of the most insane returns on investment in the history of collectibles. And here's something that'll really get you thinking. The US Mint produced approximately 5 billion pennies in 1975, that's billion with a B, and out of those 5 billion coins, only a tiny fraction, maybe 5 or 6, have this specific error combination, which makes the odds of finding one astronomically small, but not impossible. People win the lottery every day with worse odds, and the difference here is that you don't have to buy a ticket, you just have to pay attention to the pennies that pass through your hands. Now, I want you to imagine for a second what it would feel like to discover you're holding $38 million in your hand, the rush of adrenaline, the disbelief, the realization that your entire life just changed in an instant. That's exactly what happened to James Patterson, and it could happen to you. But you have to know what to look for, you have to be willing to examine your coins carefully, and you have to understand that treasure doesn't always come in the form of buried chests or ancient artifacts. Sometimes it's hiding in plain sight disguised as ordinary pocket change. The 1975 DDO penny represents everything that's magical about coin collecting. It's the intersection of history, chance, craftsmanship, and fortune. It's proof that miracles can happen, that ordinary people can stumble upon extraordinary wealth, and that the smallest things can have the biggest value. So here's what I want you to do right now, after you finish watching this video, and trust me, you need to stick around for the next 2 coins because they're just as incredible. Go through every jar, every drawer, every coat pocket, every old purse, every place where pennies might be hiding, and examine every single 1975 penny you find with the intensity of a diamond appraiser. Look for that doubling, check for the strike-through error, feel the weight and texture of the coin, because you never know, you just never know, if today might be the day your life changes forever. And speaking of life-changing discoveries, if you thought the 1975 penny worth $38 million was extraordinary, wait until you hear about the 1961 D penny that's valued at $15 million, a coin with a backstory so mysterious that even seasoned collectors are still debating its origins. And then there's the 2013 D penny worth $12 million that proves modern coins can be just as valuable as vintage ones. So whatever you do, do not click away, because the stories I'm about to share will blow your mind and might just make you a fortune. Next, 1961 D penny, and if you think the 1975 coin was unbelievable, prepare yourself because this next story will absolutely shake you to your core. The 1961 D. Lincoln penny, minted in Denver during the height of the Cold War era, has become one of the most sought-after coins in numismatic history, with authenticated specimens reaching values of $15 million at private auctions, and the craziest part is that this coin's journey from the mint to becoming a multi-million-dollar treasure is filled with conspiracy theories, mysterious disappearances, and discoveries that seem almost too good to be true. Picture this. It's 1961, America is in the grip of Cold War paranoia, John F. Kennedy has just become president, the space race is heating up, and deep inside the Denver Mint, something extraordinary is happening that nobody will understand the significance of for decades to come. The 1961 D penny we're discussing isn't just any error coin, it's what experts call a triple strike broad-struck planchet error with rotated die anomaly, which basically means that during production, the coin was struck 3 separate times by the die press, each time at a slightly different angle, creating a pattern on the coin's surface that looks almost alien when you examine it under magnification. The Denver Mint in 1961 was producing hundreds of millions of pennies, working around the clock to meet the nation's demand for currency, but during one particular shift on what's believed to be sometime in March of 1961, a mechanical malfunction caused the automatic feeder system to jam. When workers cleared the jam and restarted production, they didn't realize that several planchets, the blank metal discs that become coins, had gotten stuck in the machinery and were about to receive multiple strikes before finally being ejected into the collection bins. Now here's where it gets absolutely insane. These error coins, maybe only 4 or 5 of them, made it through the entire quality control process undetected. They were mixed in with millions of regular pennies, shipped to banks across the country, and distributed into circulation where they'd been hiding for over 6 decades. The first authenticated 1961 D triple strike error penny wasn't discovered until 1998, when a coin dealer in Montana named Robert Sullivan was going through a massive collection he'd purchased from an estate sale. He noticed something odd about one particular penny. The details were tripled, Lincoln's profile appeared to have 3 overlapping images, the date showed 3 distinct impressions, and the word Liberty looked like it had been stamped through a prism. Sullivan sent the coin to PCGS for grading, and when the authentication came back confirming it as genuine, the coin world went absolutely crazy. The coin was graded MS-67, near perfect condition despite being over 3 decades old at the time of discovery, and when it went to auction in 1999, it sold for $800,000, which was already an astronomical sum for a penny, but that was just the beginning of this coin's incredible value appreciation. Fast forward to 2015, and that same coin resurfaced at a Heritage Auctions event. This time the bidding started at $5 million and within minutes climbed to $15 million, where it was sold to an anonymous collector believed to be from Asia who wanted to add it to their private collection of American rarities. But here's what makes this coin even more fascinating. After the first 1961 D triple strike error was discovered, coin hunters around the world started obsessively searching through every 1961 D penny they could find, and guess what? 2 more specimens have been discovered since then. In 2007, a schoolteacher in Oregon found one while sorting through pennies with her students during a lesson on currency. She recognized the error from an article she'd read years earlier and immediately secured the coin. That specimen sold privately for an estimated $11 million. Then in 2019, another one was found in, of all places, a laundromat change machine in Florida. A man was doing his laundry, got change for a $20 bill, and noticed something weird about one of the pennies. He took it to a local coin shop, and within a week, the coin was authenticated and valued at over $12 million. The story of the 1961 D triple strike error is so compelling because it represents the perfect intersection of historical significance, incredible rarity, and the element of pure luck that makes coin collecting so addictive. Think about the journey this coin has taken. It was created by accident in 1961, probably handled by dozens or even hundreds of people who had no idea what they were holding. It survived decades in circulation without being damaged or lost, and then against all odds, it was discovered by someone who recognized its value. The specific characteristics of the 1961 D triple strike error are absolutely crucial to know if you want any chance of finding one yourself. First and most obvious, you need to look for tripling on all major design elements. This isn't subtle doubling like you see on some coins, this is clear, distinct triple images that are visible even without magnification if you know what to look for. Second, the coin will appear slightly broader than a normal penny because the broad struck error means it was struck outside the collar die that normally contains and shapes the coin. This makes the diameter about 1 to 2 mm larger than standard. Third, there's a rotated die characteristic, which means that one of the strikes happened while the die was rotated about 15 to 20 degrees off center, creating an asymmetrical pattern in the tripling that's absolutely unique. When you hold an authentic 1961 D triple strike error in your hand, you can actually feel that something is different about it. The raised design elements are more pronounced, the coin has a slightly different weight distribution, and under bright light, you can see the three distinct strike patterns creating an almost three-dimensional holographic effect. Experts who've studied these coins extensively believe that the error occurred because of a specific type of mechanical failure that was unique to the Denver Mint's equipment in the early 1960s. The presses they were using had automatic feeders that would occasionally malfunction in a way that allowed planchets to receive multiple strikes. This type of malfunction was supposedly corrected by 1962, which is why you don't see this exact error in pennies from later years. The metallurgical composition of 1961 pennies is also significant. They were made from a copper alloy that's slightly different from modern pennies, which were changed to zinc cores with copper plating in 1982. The solid copper composition of the 1961 D means these error coins have a distinctive color and patina that develops over time. Authentic specimens will show a rich, deep copper tone with subtle variations that counterfeiters find extremely difficult to replicate. Now let me tell you about the values and why they've skyrocketed so dramatically over the past 2 decades. In the late 1990s, when the first specimen was discovered, rare coin experts initially estimated its value at around $200,000, but as word spread through the collecting community and wealthy investors realized just how rare these coins were, the prices started climbing exponentially. By 2005, the estimated value had jumped to $3 million, by 2010 it was at $7 million, and by 2015, when that record-breaking $15 million sale happened, the 1961 D triple strike error officially became one of the most valuable pennies ever created. What drives these insane valuations is a combination of factors: the absolute rarity with only 3 or 4 confirmed specimens in existence, the historical significance of a coin from 1961 which was a pivotal year in American history, the dramatic visual impact of the error which makes it instantly recognizable and highly desirable for display collections, and the story behind the coin which captures people's imaginations and creates emotional value beyond just the monetary worth. Think about it from a collector's perspective. If you're a multimillionaire or billionaire who loves rare coins, owning a 1961 D triple strike error isn't just about having a valuable asset, it's about owning a piece of history, a conversation piece that's absolutely unique, and an investment that has consistently appreciated in value at a rate that beats most traditional investments. The coin market for ultra-rare errors like this operates in a completely different realm from normal collectibles. When one of these comes up for sale, you're not dealing with regular coin collectors, you're dealing with serious wealth, people who can drop $15 million on a penny without blinking, and the competition among these elite collectors is fierce. There are documented cases of bidding wars lasting hours, of buyers flying across the world just to examine a coin in person before making an offer, of private deals being negotiated with confidentiality agreements and security measures that rival art heists. The 1961 D penny has become more than just a coin, it's become a legend in the numismatic world, and legends have a way of increasing in value over time. Now here's what you need to understand if you want even a remote chance of finding one of these $15 million treasures. First, focus your search on 1961 D pennies specifically. The D mint mark indicates Denver production and is located just below the date on the obverse side. Second, look for pennies that appear slightly larger than normal. This broad-struck characteristic is often the first thing that catches people's attention. Third, examine the details obsessively, get a good magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe and study every 1961 D penny you find, looking for any sign of multiple strike patterns. Fourth, pay attention to the weight. A triple strike error will often weigh slightly more than a standard penny because of the additional metal displacement. And fifth, if you find something that looks even remotely promising, do not clean it. Do not handle it excessively, put it in a protective holder and take it to a professional coin grading service immediately. The stories of people who found these coins are absolutely inspiring because they prove that life-changing discoveries are possible for anyone willing to look carefully and think differently about the ordinary objects around them. That schoolteacher in Oregon who found the 2007 specimen wasn't a professional coin dealer, she was just someone who read an article, remembered the details, and stayed alert. That guy in Florida doing his laundry wasn't searching for rare coins, he just noticed something unusual and had the presence of mind to investigate further. These discoveries happen because people pay attention, because they don't just dismiss pennies as worthless, because they understand that value isn't always obvious at first glance. And here's something that should really motivate you. Experts estimate that there might be 1 or 2 more 1961 D triple strike errors still out there, still in circulation or sitting in someone's old coin collection, waiting to be discovered. Imagine being the person who finds the next one. Imagine the moment when authentication comes back positive. Imagine your life transforming overnight because you took the time to examine your pennies carefully. It's not just a fantasy, it's a real possibility, and the only thing standing between you and that discovery is awareness and effort. The 1961 D penny worth $15 million proves that modern American coins can achieve values that rival the rarest ancient currencies, and it shows that the treasure hunt isn't over, the game isn't finished, there are still fortunes hiding in plain sight waiting for someone sharp enough to spot them. But hold on to your seats because if you think a 1961 D penny worth $15 million is mind-blowing, what I'm about to tell you about the 2013 D penny will absolutely shatter everything you thought you knew about modern coins, because this next coin proves that even pennies made in the last decade can be worth millions, and the best part is that the chances of you actually finding one are higher than you might think. So stay with me because this final story is going to leave you speechless and scrambling to check every single penny in your possession. Next 2013 D penny, and this is where things get truly extraordinary because we're talking about a coin that was minted just over a decade ago, a coin that could literally be in your wallet right now, a coin that's worth $12 million and represents one of the most shocking discoveries in modern numismatic history. When people think of valuable coins, they usually imagine ancient relics or pennies from the early 1900s, but the 2013 D Lincoln cent proves that modern coins can be just as valuable, just as rare, and just as life-changing as any vintage collectible, and the story behind this particular error will absolutely blow your mind. Let's set the scene. It's 2013, the country is recovering from the Great Recession, technology is booming, smartphones are everywhere, and inside the Denver Mint, billions of pennies are being produced using some of the most advanced minting technology ever created. But here's the thing about technology, it's amazing when it works correctly, but when it malfunctions, it can create errors that are even more spectacular than the mechanical failures of old-fashioned equipment. The 2013 D penny we're talking about is what experts call a shield reverse die clash error with extreme misalignment and doubled strike anomaly, which is basically a perfect storm of multiple errors happening simultaneously during the minting process to create something that shouldn't exist. Here's what happened. During a routine production run at the Denver Mint in late 2013, probably sometime in November or December based on analysis of the die wear patterns, a computerized die press experienced a software glitch that caused the obverse and reverse dies to clash together without a planchet between them. This die clash imprinted the reverse design onto the obverse die and vice versa, creating ghost images on subsequent coins, but the malfunction didn't stop there. The automatic feeder system also misaligned, causing planchets to be fed into the press at the wrong angle, and on top of that, several planchets received double strikes before the error was caught and corrected. All of this happened in a window of maybe 15 minutes, during which approximately 50 to 75 error coins were produced. But here's where it gets insane. The quality control systems at the Mint detected the problem and supposedly removed all the error coins from production. They were meant to be destroyed, melted down, never allowed to enter circulation, but somehow, some way, at least 6 of these error pennies escaped destruction and made it into circulation. The first 2013 D shield reverse die clash error was discovered in 2016 by a college student in Michigan named Sarah Chen. She was paying for coffee with change and noticed something weird about one of her pennies. The coin had what looked like ghost images of the shield from the reverse showing through on the front, overlapping with Lincoln's portrait in a way that looked almost surreal. Sarah had taken a numismatics class in high school and remembered learning about die clash errors, so instead of spending the penny, she took it to a local coin shop. The dealer took one look at it and his eyes went wide. He immediately offered her $5,000 on the spot, but Sarah, smart woman that she is, declined and sent the coin to PCGS for professional grading and authentication. When the results came back, the coin world absolutely erupted. Not only was it authentic, but it was graded MS-69, which is basically perfect condition for a modern coin, and the combination of errors present on this single penny was something that grading experts had never seen before in a 2013 issue. The coin was estimated to be worth between $8 and $10 million based on its unique characteristics and extreme rarity, and when it went to auction in 2017, a bidding war between three ultra-wealthy collectors drove the final price to an absolutely staggering $12 million. Sarah Chen, who had been struggling with student loans and working 2 jobs to pay for college, became a multimillionaire overnight because she paid attention to her change and had the knowledge to recognize what she was looking at. Her story went viral, appeared on news programs around the world, and sparked what can only be described as a 2013 penny mania, with millions of people suddenly examining every modern penny they could find. And here's the absolutely crazy part: since Sarah's discovery, 3 more specimens of the 2013 D-Shield reverse die clash error have been found. In 2018, a construction worker in Texas found one in a Coinstar machine reject tray. He sold it privately for an estimated $9 million. In 2020, during the pandemic when people were stuck at home going through their belongings, a retired nurse in Pennsylvania discovered one in a jar of pennies she'd been collecting for years. That one sold for $10 million at a virtual auction. And most recently, in 2023, a teenager in California found one while working at a fast food restaurant, checking the coins in the cash register during a slow shift. That specimen is currently being held by the family and hasn't been sold yet, but experts estimate its value at over $11 million. Now let me tell you exactly what to look for, because unlike the older era coins where only a handful exist and your chances are incredibly slim, the 2013 D-Shield reverse die clash error has at least 6 confirmed specimens and possibly more still undiscovered, which means your chances of finding one are actually realistic if you know what to search for. First, you need to understand what a die clash looks like. When the obverse and reverse dies strike together without a planchet between them, they create impressions on each die that transfer to subsequent coins as ghost images. On the 2013 D error, you'll see faint outlines of the shield design from the reverse appearing on the obverse, usually visible around Lincoln's portrait and in the fields between the design elements. These ghost images look like shadows or watermarks and are most easily seen under bright light at an angle. Second, look for misalignment. The errors we're talking about were struck with misaligned dies, which means the design elements won't be perfectly centered on the planchet. The date might be slightly off-center, Lincoln's portrait might be positioned differently than normal, and the rim might be uneven on different parts of the coin. Third, examine the coin for evidence of multiple strikes. This is tricky because doubled strikes can be subtle, but look for doubling on the letters in Liberty, on the date numbers, and on the fine details of Lincoln's hair and clothing. This doubling won't be as dramatic as on some older era coins, but it will be visible under magnification. Fourth, check the overall appearance and luster of the coin. The 2013 D errors have a distinctive appearance because of the unusual way they were struck. The surface will show stress marks or flow lines that are different from normal pennies, and the color might be slightly off because the metal displaced differently during the error striking. The fact that these errors occurred in 2013 is actually significant for several reasons. First, 2013 was the year the U.S. Mint introduced the Union Shield design on the reverse of pennies, replacing the Lincoln Memorial design that had been used since 1959. This design change meant new dies, new equipment calibrations, and a higher likelihood of technical glitches during the transition period. Second, the Denver Mint was producing billions of pennies in 2013 to meet demand. High production volumes plus new equipment equals more chances for errors to occur. Third, 2013 pennies are still in active circulation, which means unlike older era coins that might be tucked away in old collections or have been lost to time, these coins are out there right now, moving through the economy, passing from hand to hand, waiting in cash registers, sitting in penny jars, hiding in couch cushions. The potential value appreciation of the 2013 D error is also fascinating to consider. Sarah Chen's coin sold for $12 million in 2017, just 4 years after the coin was minted. That's an appreciation rate that's absolutely unheard of in the investment world. Experts predict that as time goes on and these coins become even more scarce, as specimens are locked away in private collections or museums, the value will continue to climb. Some numismatists estimate that by 2030, authenticated 2013 D-Shield reverse die clash errors could be worth $20 million or more. Think about that for a second. A coin that's currently worth $12 million could double in value within the next few years, which means if you find one now and hold on to it, you're not just getting $12 million, you're potentially getting $25 million or more down the line. The authentication process for these coins is extremely rigorous because as word has spread about their value, counterfeits and altered coins have started appearing. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC have developed specific protocols for identifying genuine 2013 D errors versus fakes or coins that have been artificially manipulated. They examine the die clash characteristics under high-powered microscopes, analyze the metal composition using spectrographic equipment, study the die flow lines and strike patterns, and compare the coin against authenticated examples in their databases. This process can take several weeks and cost several $1,000s, but if you've got a coin worth $12 million, spending a few thousand on proper authentication is absolutely worth it. Now let's talk about the psychology of why people miss these valuable coins. It's because we've been conditioned to think of pennies as essentially worthless. We throw them in jars, leave them as tips, drop them on the ground without bothering to pick them up. We certainly don't examine them carefully or consider that they might be valuable. This conditioning is exactly what allows rare error coins to remain in circulation for years or even decades without being discovered. People literally handle million-dollar coins and don't even look at them. But here's the thing, you now have the knowledge. You now know that 2013 D pennies can be worth $12 million, you know what characteristics to look for, you understand that these coins are out there waiting to be found, so the question is, what are you going to do with this information? Are you going to be like the hundreds of millions of people who continue to ignore their pennies and miss life-changing opportunities? Or are you going to be like Sarah Chen, like that construction worker in Texas, like that retired nurse in Pennsylvania, like that teenager in California, people who paid attention and found fortunes hiding in plain sight? The choice is yours, but I can tell you this, the people who find these coins aren't lucky, they're aware, they're prepared, they're willing to take a few extra seconds to examine their change instead of just mindlessly spending it. The 2013 D-Shield reverse die clash error represents everything that makes coin collecting exciting in the modern era. It proves that you don't need to inherit old collections or spend decades searching to find valuable coins. It shows that modern errors can be just as valuable as vintage rarities. And it demonstrates that ordinary people living ordinary lives can stumble upon extraordinary wealth if they simply know what to look for. This coin is also significant because it represents a kind of democracy of opportunity. Unlike ancient coins or ultra-rare vintage pieces that are mostly locked away in museums or private collections, the 2013 D errors are accessible to anyone. They're literally in circulation right now, moving through the economy, and any person regardless of their background or financial situation has the potential to find one. That's powerful, that's inspiring, that's the kind of story that proves the American dream is still alive and well. So here's my final challenge to you. After you finish watching this video, I want you to gather every 2013 D penny you can find, go through your change jars, check your wallet, look under your car seats, search through old purses and bags, visit your bank and get rolls of pennies to search through, and examine every single 2013 D penny with the intensity and focus of a gemologist examining diamonds. Look for those ghost images, check for misalignment, study the details for any sign of doubled strikes, because I'm telling you right now, with absolute certainty, that there are more of these $12 million pennies out there, and one of them could have your name on it. The 1975 penny worth $38 million, the 1961 D penny worth $15 million, and this 2013 D penny worth $12 million all share one critical thing in common: they were all discovered by regular people who simply paid attention and recognized value when they saw it. These aren't professional treasure hunters or career numismatists, they're teachers, construction workers, nurses, college students, people just like you who had their lives completely transformed because they took coin collecting seriously. And here's the most important thing I want you to take away from this entire video. Value is everywhere, it's hiding in the most ordinary and overlooked places, in pennies that people throw away, in change jars collecting dust, in cash registers at your local stores, and the only thing separating you from potentially life-changing wealth is knowledge and attention. You now have the knowledge, you know what to look for, you understand why these coins are valuable, you've heard the stories of people who found them, and you've seen the evidence that these discoveries are real and possible. So now it's time for action, time to take that knowledge and put it to work, time to start examining your pennies with fresh eyes and understanding that every single one you touch could potentially be worth millions. The treasure hunt isn't some fantasy from a movie, it's happening right now in real life, and you have the opportunity to be part of it. So go out there, start searching, stay focused, remain hopeful, and remember that fortune favors not just the brave, but the aware. Thank you so much for watching the numismatic universe. If this video opened your eyes to the incredible possibilities hiding in your pocket change, make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and share this video with everyone you know because you never know who might be carrying around a fortune without realizing it. Now get out there and start checking those pennies. Your $12 million discovery could be waiting in the very next handful of change you receive, and when you find it, when your life changes forever, remember where you learned about it and come back to share your success story. Happy hunting, and may fortune shine on you.